work in Canada, but also for immigrants from around the world to support each other so they can talk about what stage of the process they're at and what they can expect at that stage, and to share their frustrations but also to celebrate their successes together.
It would be a great place for talk show hosts to hang out to get more topics about where their frustrations are and cause changes. You said, what are some of the major frustrations that I mean, obviously there's the benefits, but the major frustrations you've heard from the immigrant experience is what?
The biggest is probably the delays in the process, though I know the government is doing something about that. And then the other frustration is not understanding the process about how to find a job. Not understanding that if they don't have a work permit, they're not likely to get hired, and yet no one tells them this. So they're firing off hundreds of resumes to jobs they see advertised online and getting no responses and not understanding why.
And they're from another country sending in their resumes?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Well, I guess that would make sense. I mean,
it would.
Yeah, that makes sense.
There is the potential for people when they do apply internationally, if a Canadian employer has been unable to find a Canadian to fill this position, and they were to receive a CV or a resume from somebody internationally who had the skill set, the language requirements that the position required, there is the possibility for the Canadian employer to appeal to the government, obtain a labour market opinion, which would enable that Canadian employer to hire the foreign worker. And this is actually an immigration process. It's the temporary foreign worker process, and it is a way that a lot of newcomers do first arrive in Canada.
Because we're trying to, and the standards are pretty high. Now let me talk about your immigration experience. How many years ago was it you or your family that emigrated to Canada? Wendy?
For me?
Yeah.
Yeah. We came 4.5 years ago.
Okay, where from?
We were living in the UK at the time, though I'm Irish originally, so I wish you a happy St. Patrick's Day.
And to you, I'm wearing nothing green.
Me neither.
Go ahead. We still have you?
I'm sorry?
Yeah, so you emigrated here. What was that?
We emigrated here, yes. We came from the UK, and for us, actually, it took less than 18 months, so I can definitely understand the frustrations of people who've been waiting 5 years or more.
And why were you like in the express lane? What happened?
It was just the way that the process was at that time. There wasn't such a waiting list. Things seem to have built up since, and it's just a lot longer.
Now, do a lot. Sorry, you want to say something? It looked like you had something you wanted.
There are different waiting processes for different countries, given the influx of applications that come from different countries.
Oh, you mean like there's a quota?
Well, there's a quota on immigrants that can come into the country every year. You know, the government is actually doing everything they can to continually, raise that. But different countries do see different lengths of waiting processes. If one country has double the amount of applicants, then their waiting process is generally longer.
So I guess the idea then is to emigrate to a country that has a shorter waiting list and then come in from that country. Is that right, Andy? Is that how that works?
Well, you have to work out which country has the shorter waiting list. Now, the UK was fine when we came, but right now, for the applicants under the old system, the backlog is about 4 or 5 years as well.
So let me ask you this question. So you say you work with new Canadians?
I do.
Okay. So what kind of work do you do? Just like
I'm an employment counsellor, which means I help people to orient to the Canadian labour market, understand how to look for work here, and I support them while they're in that process.
How's that going right now?
We have a lot of clients. We have a lot of clients being successful, but also we're having clients being laid off because of the recession, so they're coming back to get our services again. But I think we provide a very good service, and there's services like ours all over Canada.
And the LoonLounge, how many people that you work with, I guess, is that something you let people know about, that it's something there for them, or are you prevented from telling because it's not a government agency and they're actually beating the government at their own game?
No, we're a non-profit, and what I do is supported by where I work. They see it as an excellent volunteer activity, because what I'm doing is helping people who someday will be in Canada and looking for help.
Wow, that's great. And so, well, thanks for taking the time to be a part. Anything you want to add, why people should consider going on there?
I think anyone who's in Canada should consider going, because it's a great way to share your love of your country, but also feel that you're doing something useful to help people.
Yeah, I would think that almost all the diversity organizations, because a lot of schools, back in when you were in school, diversity, multiculturalism, all of that, you would think that LoonLounge should almost be one of those places that you just visit in order to get a snapshot. It's kind of like Fiesta Week in Oshawa, except with a real better flavor in respect to the understanding what it's like culturally right across the world.
Sure.
Yeah, thanks, Wendy.
Thank you so much.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, great.
Bye.
I was going to let her take it. I took the show back from you. People come to Canada for all kinds of reasons. What's it like? What's the temperature now? Especially like if you look at the website and when we go to the website and we're flipping through there and it said, the number one, the top jobs that were interested was there. What we were talking was that's Wendy's profile, but yeah. The top jobs that were being asked for were, like that said nurses and cooks and construction people and consultants. Well, that's a government website that was February 08.
Well, or
09, I guess.
What the government has actually done is they've because of these long processing times that Wendy was just speaking about, they have drastically changed the economic class skilled worker immigration process.
Talk about what that is.
The skilled worker immigration process, economic classes were the majority of the new immigrants of Canada immigrate and obtain their permanent residency through. It's the immigration process that required the 67-point system that you had mentioned previously. However, before it used to be if you met these 67 points that are made up of your language proficiencies, education, and professional experience, it didn't really matter what profession you were in as long as you had the experience and you could come. As of February 27th, 2008, the federal government made massive adjustments to that. They compiled a list of 38 what they call in-demand occupations. And now not only do you have to have the language requirements, the education requirements, and the professional requirements, but those professional requirements have to be in one of those 38 in-demand occupations. If you have 15 years of professional experience and the 67 points, but it's not in one of those 67, or in one of the occupations that's in that list of 38, you no longer qualify. There's obvious problems with that. There's obvious problems with the fact that they have backdated that decision. They didn't make the firm decision on that. What
are the problems that you see?
They didn't make the firm decision on that until the fall of 2008, but then they backdated it to February 2008. So there are thousands of people who submitted applications that they deemed eligible and that were eligible between February and November 2008, and then come the end of November, the government said, oh, no, you're not eligible anymore. So there's a lot of controversy with that right now. But the point is that the government is recognizing that in some places we have 5-year-long processing times. People are submitting their applications and it takes them 5 years to obtain their visa and come to Canada, and that had to be adjusted.
So they basically changed the qualifications.
They changed the qualifications. It was an attempt to get rid of these atrociously long and growing long processing times.
Yeah, by making it tougher to get in.
By making it tougher to get in, but also I suppose given the recession, to try to better target to better balance things, to better target where we need skilled work in Canada, in what professions.
Well, we're going to go off to break, and I'd like to know when we come back. I want to understand how being a hot dog cart vendor and a foreign trained professional means that when you come to Canada. I don't know if she probably can. If there's a bureaucrat out there, call me to find out why we get some foreign trade professionals and then they're selling hot dogs in front of Union Station. We'll talk about more things like that when First Take Live continues.
Dan's vehicle is provided.
Welcome back to First Take Live. We're going to have you with us. We're talking about immigration issues and some of the new immigration opportunities to go to a place called LoonLounge.com, and you can find out how you can connect in a new social networking environment. I think it'd be awesome, actually. I'm looking forward to spending some time on there myself, not like I have a whole bunch. But before I went to break, I was talking to you, the viewer, and also to Natalie Hunter here, who's marketing communications manager for LoonLounge. Was that I go to if I'm going to stop by a hot dog vendor, although since I don't eat meat anymore.